Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing a watch that came out in 2015, and it is from my favorite line of IWC dress watches. This is the IWC Portofino hand-wound day-date 5162-03, 45 millimeters in diameter in rose gold. It is the image of the 1980s through 1990s giant Portofino, a collaboration of Kurt Klaus and designer Hanno Bürtscher. Its essential aesthetic and proportions survive in this modern-day Portofino hand-wound day-date. So 45 in diameter, 13.4 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 53 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Let's throw it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. The watch wears easily, comfortably. Broad, yes, but also very flat to the point where, given its domed sapphire and bezel, it will actually fit underneath the cuff. I'm going to recommend it for a wrist my size or larger. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. This feels good. It looks good, but you can also see from over the top the lugs are right out to the edge of my wrist. When lugs overlap the edge of your wrist, the watch is too big, so 16 centimeters circumference and up. The strap is a large rectangular scale alligator leather, gloss black, monotone stitch. You can see it has a sheer cut outer edge, and the symmetrical profile of the scales, you can see they're very symmetrical, indicates a very high grade of alligator cut. Now on the bottom, you can see we have IWC's relationship with Richemont-owned leather specialist Santoni. It's in Santoni's signature Signal orange, and you can see it is handmade in Italy. By the way, when it's on the wrist, you cannot see the orange, but like Berluti, Santoni signature on your leather really means something regarding quality. Taking a look, we have a Portofino specific buckle. The Portofino line does have its own buckle design. Unlike the Portuguesers, which are designed to look, well, like what was considered to be state-of-the-art in the late 1930s, the Portofino was always designed to look like a pocket watch converted into a wristwatch. And even though the Portugueser predated the Portofino line by decades, the idea back in the 80s was to re-establish IWC's credibility and commitment to mechanical watchmaking, and IWC's most iconic movements were all pocket watch calibers. So Hanno Bürtscher designed a giant case with straight welded style lugs around an IWC 98 series pocket watch movement, with the result being that it really did look like a pocket watch converted into a wristwatch. And so that's the look we still have here, that look from the 1980s, wearing well through the ages. We have tapered lug profiles that are sharply broken out from the case band, again, as if the watch had been converted from a big pocket watch to a wrist application. We have an IWC Probus Scafusia crown, a good solid watch made in Schaffhausen. We have a domed bezel, but we also have a dramatically domed crystal designed to evoke the plexiglass crystals of yore. And you can see that the watch's dial is what IWC calls ardoise. It is anthracite, somewhere between black and gray. Now, what you can't see terribly well is that it has no deeply tangible texture. There's a sunburst pattern, but it's difficult to discern. It almost looks like an opaline matte finish. What you can see easily is that the rose gold elements are exquisite. Note the rose gold chapter ring for the sub-seconds. Note the rose gold leaf-style hands for all of the indications from the day to the second, the Power Reserve, applique baton style, rose gold, hour indices, and then a rose gold Roman numeral 12. We're going to wind this watch up. It is a hand-wound. Take a look at the Power Reserve. You can see it starting to advance from right to left as I wind the watch. Now there's a couple of modes here. First, stop seconds. Note that the seconds hand is stopped. I have stopped it so I can set the watch to a reference time. The best way to do that is to stop the seconds hand up at 60. Now in the second position, I can control the date system. I have a double quick set. Clockwise changes the day, counterclockwise changes the double-digit date. You can see it too uses ardoise discs. It has a facet for the aperture, so it's not a sheer, clumsy cut through the dial. You can see how it slopes down from the dial to the discs, and in superior fashion, the discs are flush. A lot of double-digit dates use superimposed discs, not here. The folks in Schaffhausen doing things the right way. You'll also note that there is a concentric texture around the track of the small seconds and a few well-chosen shocks of red. Flip it all over, you can see that this movement, which is the 59220, it's derived from IWC's automatic winding 50,000 series, 51,000 series, 52,000 series. Well, this is going to be the 50,000 or the 51,000 because it has a single barrel, not the twin barrel of the 52,000. But it gains an extra day of power reserve. The automatic is 7, this is 8. It's still adjusted in a chronometer style 5 positions with a rugged and precise free-sprung balance and a handmade overcoil hairspring. So in every physical position, the hairspring with its overcoil has a more centered mass, so you have more consistent timekeeping in every position. Of course, it features a number of finishing elements that are attractive, albeit mostly mechanically applied, including long and narrow Côte de Genève, black polished screw heads. We have machined bevels. We have solarization on both the ratchet wheel and the barrel cover, and then we have engine turning on the base plate with satination on the wheels where we can see them, as well as the regulator cover. It is an accomplished and impressive movement, and all of this is water resistant down to 30 meters. It's a throwback to the 1980s, and of course a rare IWC Portofino complication. You don't see too many Portofinos, fewer still the complicated models, but it is my favorite line of IWC dress watches. So reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this one.